What's going on, traders? Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Wanted to spend some time preparing for the week ahead, taking a look at the charts, doing some analysis here. What can we expect potentially coming into next week, as we certainly had a very interesting close on Friday. So tons of stuff to go over here in the markets. And of course, besides the charts, we'll look at the economic calendar and some of the other data points that we like to build our thesis on, and game plan for the next week. So let's start off with the economic calendar first, see what we have in store for us on that front. But remember, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and in no way should be viewed as financial advice. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into the calendar and see what we have on deck for this week. Let's pull this up here, get rid of that. All right. So Monday here, let's see. When the Monday looks pretty light. Really nothing there on Monday that I'm going to pay too much attention to as far as a major market mover. Retail sales at 8:30. Tuesday the 16th, we do have. Let's see. Fed Speaker Jefferson, oh, he's on at 9 o'clock, so market will not be open. But we do have Powell speaking. Doesn't say where here, but Powell is speaking on Tuesday the 16th at 1:15, so definitely want to pay attention to that, as that could have an effect on the market. I don't know. I'm going to do some more digging and find out where exactly he's speaking to see really if it in fact will have much of an impact. But either way, moving along here, we've got the beige book at 2 o'clock. And then two more Fed speakers, but the market will be closed, so that is we are safe on at that front. I wonder if there's some type of Fed speaker event going on this week, because it looks like they are kind of active. Just hold on here, I got this on my screen. What is this? All right. All right, so yeah, Wednesday, beige book, 2 o'clock. Thursday, initial jobless claims definitely will be, it doesn't move the market, usually, but definitely paying attention to the labor market very closely recently, especially with these hot CPI numbers that we have been experiencing. So definitely going to pay attention to just what that says from a macro perspective. But then we have Bowman at speaking at 9:05. John Williams 9:15 right before the bell, and then we have a double dose of Bostic at 11 o'clock, and then when the market is closed at 5:45. 10:30 on Friday the 19th, we just have Goolsby speaking at 10:30. So Friday looks like a quiet day for us. All right, we've got that off the list. Let's move right along and start off with some weekly charts here on the S&P SPY here. So now we have had quite the down day. SPY was down, about 1.38%, down about $7 on Friday. Pretty much nothing was safe from the fury of the bears on Friday. So, now we're coming into kind of a critical spot here. We've been here before, right on the weekly, 9 moving average, and bears obviously get very, excited when we've got, two selling days like this. And sure, there are definitely some structural things that are going on that can be a little bit concerning, maybe for a little bit of a deeper pullback. But, again, bigger picture, there's nothing to be worried about. We could come all the way down again, to 500 really. And if we really get a sell, I'll just throw this out here. If we do see a bigger time span of a sell kind of market for a little bit, of course, we're going to look at that 500 psych, but I wouldn't really be surprised even just to see a retest of the prior all-time high. Come back in. Nothing's in a straight line, of course, but I definitely see something like this being a scenario that we could look at, over a 6 month time period. Maybe this part would be up into the election, right? So we'll see. Just something that could happen. But we'll take it one step at a time, of course, and let the chart guide us. And if anything, the Bulls have proven time and time again that they are not to be messed with. And that every time the Bears got all excited and the market pulls back 3 or 4% overall, we just shoot back right to all-time highs. So like nothing happened. So you got to give them that backdrop as well. And here we are sitting at the weekly 9, and holding up here. We have been watching this still these overbought readings coming in here on the weekly chart, which is usually a bit of a stronger reading overall. So we still are watching that. We have been anticipating somewhat of a pullback or a weekly higher low or even a daily higher low, which we will get to, and it definitely has been achieved. I think that the daily definitely has some more structural damage that we can talk about versus the weekly, but I think the main thing here that I'm paying attention to is that, let me zoom in a little bit here, is that we did create a lower low. We broke the lows of the week of the 18th of March. So, it really, to me, wasn't a convincing break of it. We closed, 510.85. That weekly low here is 511.12. So yeah, it's basically right on it. But so it could just as easily pop right back inside. And again, considering where we are right at the weekly 9, I mean, it's very, very possible to see that. So I definitely going to pay attention to this level, because this may just end up turning into a look below and fail type of situation. We didn't get under that 510 whole number psychological. What was the low? We got 509 up basically at the lows for Friday. But we still closed underneath, but this could turn into a nice setup here if we bounce back, close, and get back above that previous low at that 511.15, we'll call it. Just like those round numbers, but anywhere 511. 511.10, 511.15, anywhere in that area, we pop back above that, and I feel just a little bit better overall from this weekly perspective. But we're still gonna watch, these lows here, the lows of the 25th, and pretty much not the lows here, but this also body of the week of the 1st. So I'm also going to pay attention to this area here, because unless, and it's also here the high of the 4th, but unless bulls can get back over 518, really 520, we're going to have an issue of possibly just continuing to run sideways and not really be able to continue the trend, right? But as it stands now, I mean, we have this swing high here, this multi-top potentially being put in, and from this week, we have a lower high from that previous weekly swing high. So the structural changes are starting to develop here for the Bears, but we'll see what happens next week. We do have pretty much a clear week as far as data is concerned, but now that we also have CPI and PPI behind us, the next big thing that I think we're going to be looking forward to is earnings season's really going to start to kick off. XLF got smashed a bit with the Wells Fargo, I believe, was up, but JP Morgan was down about 5%. And I forget which other earnings. I think it was BlackRock, but I don't remember. I didn't see what their reaction was. But I think the big outlier to me was JP Morgan being down 5%, as that's one of the biggest banks, right now. And so that's kind of like the bellwether, for that sector, in my opinion. So either way, I am gonna actually. I was looking at that XLF chart. I'm gonna post that up to my Twitter. You can also check that out if you don't follow me there. It's at underscore shark underscore trades, and that's where you'll find me on there. Anyway, so yeah, we want to pay attention to this now with this new lower high on the weekly being put in. A slight lower low, unconvincing for me, but I mean, it is there. But let's see, like I said, the Bulls just have proven time and time again that they're not to be messed with, and it's very possible we snap back, just back up into that the low of that 18th, and then we have a potential counter trend trade on the table for us. Another thing that I'm going to be watching as far as, and we're going to go over this a little bit more, when we get a bit more granular, is but pay attention. One of my favorite plays, or what I often talk about, is those retracements, and looking at either the scenario of a 25 or a 50% retracement, and we can use that here on that weekly range. So I'm also going to be paying attention to that, just to see, if we start to recapture that 511, 15, maybe we've got a chance to rally back up and retest. First step 25% would probably be right around in the 513, maybe we'll call it 514, 513.75 area, and then we could possibly see if we get over that, maybe 515, 515.25. So I'll also have those levels. You might want to just keep those in the back of your mind, maybe mark them off, up to you. Yeah, so that's really all I've got here from the weekly candle. I mean, this is definitely has some momentum here behind it. Strong, full-bodied candle there. So let's see as this develops. And now, let's get into the daily chart and see what we can start to take away from that perspective. And I've got a couple of different viewpoints on the daily chart as well. So actually, let me stay in the weekly. Actually, I just kind of wanted to go over this really quickly from this trend line perspective, because I was posting, I think I posted about this on my Twitter as well. Kind of looked better on the line chart, to be totally fair with you. But I was watching this trend line here, and I posted something, we're going to have an issue for me. And I think it's going to be a little bit more evident, certainly when we get on the daily chart here. But this major trend line, I was watching important, bigger macro trend line. We can follow. Oh, I'm not gonna go back, but it goes back a long way. Multiple points here that we have touched, and now we have broken it. Certainly for the quote-unquote, pattern traders, we can even say, we're starting to look a little bit like a head and shoulders potentially here, with a little shoulder, maybe in this area here, possibly a shoulder to build out here, right? But the more important thing for me personally is the fact that we've broken this trend line. Let's also watch for if we do get that counter trend move to the upside. And that's about 45%. Maybe it could be about that 50%, depending on when we do it. But another thing to watch out for is like this, come up down here, boom, and then back down, and then we actually make that true lower low. So keep an eye on that. We will watch it as it develops, and see when this potentially will come to fruition. It might even take 2 weeks, but it seems like depending on when it does, if it does it into like the 22nd, something like that, that would give us that 50% retracement of that weekly range. So we'll see. It doesn't have to happen in one day, but everything lies on whether or not we can get back, we can jump back up kind of within that balance zone. So one step at a time. All right, let's get into the daily chart here. Let me get off of this. I don't remember what I was on. I was on this one. Okay, cool. Boom. All right. Now, daily chart has got some more issues for me. We have firmly closed. Now, the daily 20 has been, something that we've really, the market's really held on to. for a while, and now we've gotten that a more confident close underneath that daily 9 and 20, which pretty much have a nice confluence together as they are basically both hanging out together, having a drink, both sitting at 5, 16, 25, and 42 respectively. So let's watch to see. Some people trade those crossover kind of things. Not really my style, but I will pay attention to see if it happens because I do know a lot of traders do look at that stuff. So either way, price is under them, and I would say has a pretty decent confirmation of being under them. The daily kind of definitely has more cracks in the sand, in my opinion, than the weekly. Very choppy, tricky price action here. It looks, kind of bipolar, right? This huge red down day, and then back up, and down, and then, like this, just kind of really what's the word, just challenging, I think, or can be challenging. So don't be discouraged on that. Just look at this daily and look what you have been having to deal with. The other thing is, and we will go over the VIX, that's had a lot of changes as well. So I think I mentioned something like this, and maybe I'll probably put a tweet out about it. You have to change your risk parameters, your sizing, with higher volatility, right? We're not trading in a market right now that like we were even a few months ago. 13, 14 VIX. All right, VIX is what, 15? It now hit 8. What did it hit? Almost $20 on Friday. The high was 1912, 1920. So just be aware of that. You're gonna get a lot more of this wider price action, and just adjust your style, your risk appropriately, whether that's sizing down and taking wider stops or whatever that might be. Okay. So, all right. So here's that bigger structure here on the daily, on the weekly that we're talking about. And still, unless we start to get over this area, it's going to be really tough for the bulls to resume that uptrend. That's what's going to, you can kind of see here the low of the 26th. And right here, this is kind of the, and let me try to draw it out like this. This is kind of the structure, right, that has broken here. We tried to do a little look above here and we failed, back below. So this is what I'm going to be paying attention to. 518 50 here, 519 50, but you can basically give it the 520, right? Give it a little bit of range there, but this is the structure that on the daily that's going to need to be recaptured for the bulls. Otherwise, yes, we can trade and bounce up into this area. Sure, we might get obviously rejected, maybe not, but we could see price trade up all up into this area, but it's going to be meaningless from the daily perspective and weekly unless we get over this. So just keep that in the back of your mind. You can also just clearly make a downtrend from here and keep that in the back of your mind too. Any trades up into here, could offer more short opportunities if we want to follow like this. So let's see what happens. I personally think Monday, we do get some type of a short-term bounce. And then we'll see what happens from there. But it certainly looks like from the daily chart perspective that more downside could be in the works. And where do I think we'd potentially take it? I'm going to look at another drawing set here in a moment. We might have these levels already kind of marked off, but it is kind of nice just to get a fresh perspective every week, at least for the video, even though I have that stuff saved for my own edification. But either way, I'll be looking at this area potentially next, to potentially trade into, let's see, 504, 505, maybe 502, 25. I think if this continues, this is another area that I would pay attention to. I'm gonna pay attention to the lows here at the 15th. We might see a little pause in this general area here, also at these highs from the 22nd. So what is that, 508 pay attention to that area as well if we do come down. But I do think we will pop up and probably get a back test of this area. So if you are interested in a short for a swing, there could be a opportunity for you if we start to trade up into, and again, it's hard to estimate the level because you don't know what day it's going to hit up here. But you know, 515, 513, and of course, obviously, your risk being really getting over that trend line. But let's see what we get. It could offer us a nice opportunity. What else? I was just trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's open up the other set that I wanted to look at here, and I'm going to go on to this, on this kind of perspective. Okay, so here's the trend channel that we've been trading in since pretty much the start of the year. Pretty common uptrend channel there, all the way up, down. Okay, great, perfect. And now we're starting to see that change, right? Running sideways for a bit, possible distribution taking place overall in the market. We also, can't discount the geopolitical things that are going on now with Israel and Iran. So hopefully that works itself out and nobody gets hurt more. But we also have that backdrop, and I think some news came out on Friday. I can't remember what it was, but escalating tensions there between them, and we're definitely keeping an eye on those geopolitical risks as well. But with that being said, here's now the channel also that I was watching kind of being formed here on the daily, and I just put this here on the 4 hour so we can just see it a little bit more granularly. Now, what I'm also going to be paying attention to on SPY here is this whether or not, and I'm going to bring this out actually, whether or not we're going to be able to recapture this trend line. You can see that we tried to recapture here, but couldn't do it. What the bulls want to see is the price come up and get back over like this, and then we can come up and see another big level that we've been over. This is from not last week's video because we did futures, but the prior one, the 512.50. Gonna be watching that. There are these lows, right, from 1 o'clock. What is the session? Is this from the this is the double bottom from the 8th here. Had some little wicks, lip belows, and fails here. So big area here I want to pay attention to, the 512.50. I think that getting price back over the trend line here, and depending on when we do it, I don't know, basically 511, what is this? We really want to see an hourly close over 511.50. That would be nice for the bulls. Then we can look at a retest, watch what happens when price comes into that 512.50. Could be an opportunity there for a short. I don't know if I really like that personally. I think we can get a better retracement if you're interested in a short. But that is an idea there, or where we could see some sellers come in and try to stuff price. But if we get back over, then okay, we can talk about maybe coming closer to that 515 area here, maybe 50% of this candle here that we experienced. That would make sense to me. Maybe 514.40 here, 50. We could come in and see. So let's see, if we get that, and then just travel up here. Maybe that's about 50% or so up in this area, which would line us up with this 12-hour 9 there. So that could be interesting. That's something I would like a little bit better for a short, just a little bit a better risk to reward, personally, and then see about coming back to that 512 area. But all right, let's pay attention to this trend line, see if they can get back over. I will be monitoring this closely. Hopefully, when Globex opens, we just gap up and we are already back over it. But a lot of work that the bulls have to do either way. So let's look at what they have to accomplish from an hourly perspective and get a bit more granular, and and see what we can take away from that view. But if we just wanted to take a quick peek from this view on the daily chart and see. So here, as you can see, right, from the daily, it's printing a little bit of a different picture. You could see on the 12-hour, it was kind of it didn't really close here, but from the daily, it looks like we did close above it. So either way, I think that's encouraging, but it doesn't really mean anything to me unless we still get back over that 512.50. Then I'll feel a little bit better about seeing that retracement, maybe into the lows of the 9th, another level. Keep an eye on here. Oh, that's basically that 514.50 area that we were just talking about a second ago. So, but if we do start to create that lower low, we just had been over. Hold on, let me find it. There we go. And we certainly, if we take out 508, next major area I'd be looking at is going to be down in this 505 first stop. I don't know how far we'll trade into it, but it's possible we can come into the low 502s. So let's keep an eye and see how it develops. All right, let's get more granular now. Let's get into the hourly. More days. There we go. Cool. All right, so we're going to mark off, obviously, the swing low of the week. Right? We'll make a little like so. Okay, cool. All right, so be watching to see what happens if we really start getting under that 509. Probably drive us down into these equal lows here at 508.40 area. Under that 508 obviously is going to be the next zone that you would want to pay attention to as for a possible buy. Under that 508, watch 507. 507.35. So these are definitely paying attention to these for downside possible reversals and or if you are short as potential targets. But what do we want to look at here from the bull perspective? So we've got some downside levels there for either support or targets. Bulls, they're going to obviously going to need to get back over, and it's pretty clear here. You can see these equal lows. This was the double bottom that I was talking about before, and you can also see that you have pretty much a supply area here, and we can make it, right there. And it's no question about why that is, because obviously, as we just mentioned, we kind of drag it out here and we're getting into these lows. And really, since the bulls definitely have a lot of work to do, so to be fair, not biased, because I do want the market to bounce tomorrow, as I have some calls overnight or over the weekend. This is really the area. This is the zone they're going to have to recapture to really see a move to the upside. So let's mark this off here. And of course, we'll look at the chart from both perspectives. If you are bearish, this whole zone here, 511 basically to 512, about $1 range there. Price moving anywhere up into here could be a potential short trade. You can look into to then come back in. I'm not really interested. If we opened up here by the lows, no, I'm going to be looking to go long. I'm not shorting the whole like that personally. Yeah, I might get stopped and try again, and then look for that. Look for a lower level at one of these that are discussed. But I'm not chasing that market down when we were down, on what was NQ was down 300 points, ES was down 76 points. On Q's, what is that? That was $7 on Q's, pretty much the par for the course on the range for the day. And so, but if the bulls are able to recapture 512, I think that that's going to be a bit better confirmation for them to be able to look for trades. Of course, we're going to pay attention to that hourly 20 there at 512. This is 95, 513 there. But honestly, I would not be surprised at all if we saw moves coming into 514.40 here. Come back up into VPOC here on the hourly would not surprise me by any stretch of the imagination. And also that would be if we come in from these highs to these lows. I'm going to eyeball it, but that's probably a little bit more than 50%. But if I really even went, well, that was from pre-market. But I'm sure it's pretty close. I don't think it's going to be 50%. No, that's going to be the golden. That's going to be the 618. So it's basically in the pocket there between the 618 and the 50. So let's watch out for that. We can certainly also look at another obstacle in this area here. Again, for potential areas that if we're looking for that retracement trade, areas where we could trade up into, right? This is that next big hourly break of structure. So, and another possible area where you can think about possible, short trades there around that 513, 50 thereabouts, 514, right at POC there. I mean, that makes sense to me. We rally back up into here and find some trouble in that area. I just don't know exactly how it's going to open, where we'll open, but hopefully we just going to open flat, or either that or we gap up into this area and hang up here, and then it would be a pretty clear ride if price opens up here in Globex, and then we will probably more than likely make that move as long as we hold over that 511 into there. Probably see the shorts come in there, and I wouldn't be surprised. Mondays usually a bit of that set the tone range. Market's going to digest everything, and of course hopefully there's nothing geopolitical that we have to deal with, but I really wouldn't be surprised really Monday just to see us trade in this area. Maybe we get a little bit higher, but some type of a range day like that would not surprise me at all. I'm not sure if we get all the way to the open here, but it's possible. I mean, again, bulls have been strong and showed their strength time and time again. So we'll see. But things could maybe be different this time. All right, so yeah, that's what I'll be looking at here from that granular perspective. Again, over 511, you've got some hope. Over 512, bulls definitely feel a little bit more confident. Possible shorts into that area. Trades up into the 513, 514, 514.50. Possible short zone in there for trades back down to retest into this prior supply and now demand. Under 512 again. If you get short from here and you're under 512 again, that would be really nice trade. And certainly if you hit from here, the target's going to be the equal lows, scaling of course on the way, and then see if you can get that break and come down to the 508. That may be out by then. So that's what I would be looking for. Yeah, I don't really think we're going to get back over the previous highs, but I guess I'll call out if we do. Where do I think we would go next? We would have to get, gonna have to get over this. So 5 so yeah, over 514.50. We'll look at 513 and 40 thereabouts, maybe 516, 516.25, And over that, let's see what the 200 here probably would slope down and probably be at 517 in that area. We might just stop there. So we'll see. But, this is just this hourly perspective. Also don't forget, what's going to be going on from that daily perspective as well. So, we have all those viewpoints that we want to keep in mind. Even if we start trading into, we could just come in and back test here, 516. Oh, which one was it? So yeah, that would be about that trend there. So don't forget about that macro, and I just don't have it, on this drawing set. So kind of nice, if this goes into next week, we're trading like up into this area, and we've got the downtrend here, like around this 516.50. If this happens like Wednesday, it's nice. Two points of confluence with this supply and the downtrend for a possible short trade. So maybe onto a swing. So pay attention to that as well. All right, let's keep it moving along. We still got the Qs and some other stuff to go over. So I want to get through this, and we're already in 40 minutes here. So all right, let's do a quick one on the Qs. Okay. Q's hanging out right at the weekly 9 as well. I think the weekly here, the selling. It feels like the candle on the weekly on SPY looked a little bit more aggressive than here what I'm seeing on the Qs. Same type of situation though, kind of rolling over slightly. This weekly looks a little bit better to me. We're still monitoring than SPY, honestly. We're still monitoring these overbought conditions as well. But we can look at this also. Let's look at this from a Fibonacci perspective here. If this is the top, I'm going to watch. It's quite what I would pay attention to here. I think if we start to trade underneath, now we're kind of right at these weekly. What is this? The second, the 5th, the 19th. Right, so I want to pay attention to this area here. It's pretty much right where we stopped. We spoke about in the last video that we did on these this market. We spoke about this area before. This demand area, definitely going to pay attention to see if this holds kind of as the weekly structure, right? We start seeing trades and a weekly acceptance, and even I'll start to get nervous if it's like 3 days. We start to really close under 435. You could say, yeah, what is this? Under 435. I'm not going to really like the look of that. And from then, we would possibly look at something to happen where we just start to, oh gosh, okay, that's not the one I wanted. We start to open up and start to break that structure and head down, right? And if this happens, now we're looking at this from a weekly view, and it could take some time, but we could just see that retracement down into the 23.6 here, right around 425. Could be a possible nice pickup there for a nice reset for everything. You have nice confluence too. I'm sure that this 20 weekly would catch up here and meet a 23.6 retracement. That's your first major bull retracement. From a fib perspective. The other one obviously is going to be the 38. Under the 38, it's hard to continue to be really bullish. But I think that if we start to see those prices trade and start getting those daily closes under 438, I would really start to get nervous here about a little bit of a deeper retracement. I would say last stop is going to be 434. Under that, and I think the Bears have free reign down into 425. I think that would be a pretty fair estimation. So keep this in mind right here. 433.50, you can call it. Really start to get under this, and I think 425 is going to be on deck. We'll just come into the weekly 20. Nice confluence there, and if you're bullish, that's, from the bigger picture perspective, that definitely could be a nice spot where you say, all right, let's see if we can get that final push into new all-time highs. Let's see if we get down there. Could be a nice opportunity. We'll see how this hello Momo kind of resets from there as well. So yeah. All right, let's look at this a little bit quickly. I'm going to go through the daily now very fast. Let's just mark off. I'm just going to mark off the 23.6 here just to have it and see if it lines up to anything interesting on the daily as we switch over. I mean, to be honest, there's more damage I see in ES and in SPY than I do in tech. We are still closing here above the 9 and 20, and we do have a clear, obvious downtrend here going on. So obviously, those things cannot be ignored. But it just doesn't. We didn't make a new lower low on this one, where on SPY we did. So I'm going to definitely pay attention to that. We pretty much are hanging out in these equal lows, right? And just in this kind of demand area, whereas SPY kind of broke through that. So that is interesting. We'll pay attention to this slight divergence, because I did feel like, for a minute tech was looking weaker than SPY, and SPY was stronger. But these rotations, these things happen. Well, like I said, we are still below the 9 and 20, so keep an eye on that. Basically, 441 is going to be getting us back over the 9 period moving average. I'm going to also look, this, you can say here it's not as clear as SPY, but I would say this 443 area. Yes, of course, we're gonna look to see if we can get over the daily 9 and 20. But from the structural perspective, I'm gonna say that as long as we stay under this 443, 50, 443, 30, 25, anywhere in that area, it's gonna be hard for the bulls to get back over. That's what they're gonna need to do to start to neutralize this sideways action and really get back up and get back on a trend again. Other than that, unless that happens, we can just see price continue to bang up against here, and eventually this will break and we will make a new lower low. And if we do, I really wouldn't be shocked. Just check out these lows. We already kind of went over that 433.50 area, maybe a little bit lower. You can maybe say 432.50, if you want to make a little supply area, a little demand zone there. Certainly an area to look. You can just do it like that. Okay, so this is, if we don't get over that, this is what I think eventually is going to be the inevitable situation. We're going to come down into here from that daily point of view. Maybe we bounce there, maybe we don't. I do not know. It's possible what we see there is a bounce back. We retest, and then we make that bigger low down like that. Otherwise, for the bulls, you want to get back over here, and come up like that. So that's going to be, these are our two scenarios. Or we've got the earnings, so that's really going to be the interesting thing. And I got to look at when Netflix earnings. I'm going to post it up, the earnings calendar. Do we have anything big? Let me actually just look really quickly, because I did look on Friday, and I didn't have it out yet. Let's see, any big market? We got more of the banks on Tuesday. Bank of America, Johnson & Johnson, pharmacy. Morgan Stanley. What do we got? Anything that's important? No. Thursday. Thursday is everything. It's going to be Netflix on Thursday. That's going to set the tone. The tone of the tech sector. So watch out though on Wednesday, because it might be choppy, because the market might be scared coming into Netflix. And that's the kickoff. We're back, baby, in earnings season. All right, back to this. So yeah, 440, 432, 50. Let's watch for that. Under that, from the daily view, let's watch these double top highs here. Coming in here, right around 430. Under that 430 psych, then I think we're going to target that 425. Would be the more than likely situation. So that's what we got from the daily perspective on the Qs, in my opinion. Hopefully, the bulls, I think, will probably see some type of a back test here and then fade later in the week. But we'll see what Netflix gives us. That's going to be the canary in the coal mine, as well as any geopolitical stuff going on. But if we really start getting over 443, let's look at 435. 445. Over that, we'll look for a test of these equal highs. I think would be the next realistic target for the bulls that they would have to get over and come into test somewhere in this area here. So over 443, 50, 445, 446, 75, 80 area for the bulls. And then over that, yeah, we'll look for those all-time highs again, if they can get there. So, all right, let's go over some weekly stuff here. Actually, I've already got levels for some day trading stuff, so that will be good and quick. No, not a 10-minute chart. Let's go to a 10-day hourly. Let me just extend these. Cool. All right. So, bulls need to recapture 437. We'll call it 438. 437.88. They need to get back over again these highs. It's going to be 439. 438.75. Get over that. We're coming back into POC. This is what I think is going to be this situation tomorrow. We'll come back up into this area here, right around that 440, 439.75 area. Come back here and then probably reject, and just will more than likely, in my opinion, trade something like this. I don't know how strong the bulls are going to be, but something like this. There is a chance that we open up, I hope this doesn't happen, but we could open up down at this 436 area, 436. Look at this area here. If we do trade down, another one of the scenarios, I think that we could open up, see a little bit more selling in the morning, and then we see the bounce. But we'll see where we open up, and what the futures are doing. And of course, hopefully no one goes crazy in the Middle East. But I think the bulls, first step, again, over 438. Got to get over 430, 439. That's going to lead, 430. 850. That's going to lead us back into 439.75, 440, and then we can see what happens from there. We really start accepting over that area though, over 440. I'm going to look for that back test into 441.25 thereabouts. Over that, we can come back into 442.70, 72 area. Which is, pretty much maybe just that 442, just those open there. Otherwise, we could also, for the bears, we could also just trade into this 437, 85, 438, reject back down. Then we're going to target, the bears would target 436.30. The equal lows in that area, watch, could have a bounce there. I'm not sure, but if it breaks, then we're going to target the next equal lows all the way down, 434.80. Oh God, if that breaks, we're going to drop another 80 cents and probably come down into 434. And then things can get interesting. Under 434, we'll probably drop another 50 cents or so. So we'll see, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. I would be more looking at this weekly 9 to give us somewhat of a pushback and show of force by the bulls, personally. So that's what I'm looking there for. Tech and the QQQ. All right, let's move it along. I really appreciate everybody hanging out here with me as we go over the markets together. Like I said, tons of stuff to go over since we really had this big breakdown in the market. All right, so let's go over the dollar here because we have some serious issues going on. Not good. Dollar basically going parabolic. And this 104 level, we've talked about it. Now we're seeing the squeeze over the 105. And we came into the next target, which is this 105, 80, 86, the 106 area. Well, as long as we hold this 105.87, we could just end up hopefully what's going to happen is we just hang out here. Well, not hopefully, but if you're bullish on the dollar, you would hang out here, come up high and tight. And then it's going to be 106.50 and then 106.87. It's going to be pretty much the next situation. So this would continue to put just pressure on the market, and this is just not what you would want to see as a bull. So yeah, let's watch out for this 106 kind of 50-40 area, and then potentially that 106 90 zone, 85. Otherwise, what we could also hopefully look for is that if this just is a fake push, and then we open up below here, and then we can get a little cool off, maybe into 105.50. This will give the market a little bit of a bounce, and maybe from there we just come back up. So let's look. It's going to be around, we could retrace, 105.50, which is just right in these lows here. Maybe we come a little bit lower and come into the highs from February, September. Basically 105.50. So that's what I would look for, and then we might bounce from there and just continue on its merry way. The most ideal thing is if we come back to 105 and then we break under. But I don't see that happening, so we'll see. All right, TNX rates have been going ballistic. They changed the symbol. I don't know why. Okay, well, at least these kind of cooled off a little bit. This is what we would want to see from the dollar, actually. This is exactly what we would want to see. Kind of peeking our head up. We got stuff there at that 46. Back under. Then we could see this potentially, as long as we don't get back over this 50, 45, 25 area, right? These lows here, we could see this cool off and come down, maybe back into retest this the top of the old gap here at this 44.33. This would also relieve pressure on the market and give us that little bit of bounce. And this reminds me of where we potentially are on TLT, and I want to watch that because if we can get a nice bounce on TLT, this will come down. I think we could come back down into this 44. Let's watch for this next week come down into 44.30s. I think that's very possible. Let's look at TLT though, because I did want to point this out as we are coming into a pretty big area. We're not quite there yet, but let me pull this up on the weekly chart. But TNX and TLT have an inverse relationship, and if TLT is going up, usually the market goes up, TNX goes down, the market goes up, TLT up, market up. So we're going to watch. We had this huge trend line here on the weekly that we have broken. We do have this other weekly trend line that we are contending with, but as we come back, we're getting very close to it. We're not quite there yet. It's at 88.40 is really the last stop there for the bulls on this kind of market structure shift right here. But I love this setup. If we come a little bit lower, then we might not even touch it, but we're right at this BRB. I love this setup here on TLT. We come a little bit lower, maybe we come into there and we can get a move, maybe to come back test this 91.83 area. See, this is a nice possible trade with pretty minimal risk to reward here. Risking, basically, if we do come down into close to that 88.44 area, risking basically 40 cents to get a move up, back up to retrace to this 91.85 zone, and then probably get out there because, this could just reject. And that's what I think might happen, is that we see that retrace on the market, and this would be the market bouncing back up right here. We got a little retracement. And then I bet that something like this, if this happens, this lines up with that trend line that we were just looking at on SPY, right? This would be like a back test of that downtrend, that yellow downtrend, and then from there we just come down and then we break down lower like this. And of course that means the market's going to come down too. So let's watch. Let's see if that plays out and see if it lined up. But I could see something like this happening, and hopefully, like I said, because I want the market to bounce on Monday. All right, that's all I wanted to go over for TLT and TNX. Let's move it right along here. I think that's everything. So let's go into the nitty-gritty here and get into some of the other data points. Again, I really appreciate it. We're coming on the hour mark. If you're still here, pat yourself on the back. You know what I always say at the end of every video. It's all about preparation, kind of getting a look of the land before the market opens. And this is where you make your money, right? Now it's when the market's open. When the market's open, you're just executing your plan, right? So we know we always set up that if-then. If the market does this, I'll do that. If it does that, I'll do this. We've got our ideas, and then we'll just react to our levels. That's all we do. We set our risk and we react to what's happening. All right, let's get into some of our other data points. Definitely some stuff to go over here as we've seen this downturn in the market. Put call ratio, oh, okay, interesting. I thought that this would be a little bit higher, but it's not, because I was actually looking at it over the before in the middle of the week, and I noticed that this was up quite a bit. And I was thinking to myself, oh, they're going to get really heavy on the puts here, and we're going to get a nice counter trend trade. But it looks like everybody offloaded. I don't know their positioning here, because we back down to kind of that homeostasis level here in that 74. So no readings here, but the VIX playing out kind of like what we were talking about here. We did break slightly below the 15 area, but really not by much, and we just pretty much held that bellwether 1575. We've been talking about this right into our next level. I was actually going to make a post, and I thought we were going to see VIX 17. I thought we were going to stop here. I was surprised we got all the way up into the top part of this balance level here. This is good though. We're seeing this that we could not accept over here. I think this is good that this came down a little bit. But now again, as long as we hold over the 1575 like this, I mean, we still could see moves into that over 20. Things get very interesting, and then we're looking at 22 on deck if we really start getting over 20. So watch out for that. But pretty much bullish on VIX unless we start getting under 1575. Gotta be bullish there on VIX. Let's look at how many stocks are trading over their 50 period moving average and their 200 period moving average. in the SPX and the S&P here. Having an issue. Let's hope that we see a snapback. We do not want to see a weekly close under the 50% line here on the amount of stocks trading under their 50-day. This is a warning sign. This is not good. What we could also potentially see is oh gosh, I didn't mean to do that. A snapback. Oh fuck. Okay, this works. A snapback into the 50. Oh, no, you're not going to get me. Snap back into the 50, and then we might do something like that. So let's see. Ideally, we get back over the 50% marker, and we hang out here, and then we drift back up. That would be the bullish case. This is what the bears would want to see, is the back test of the 50% and then down. I think we'll back test that 50. Will we get over that part? I don't know. A little bit of a warning sign, not too much on the, I don't get really too worried from the 200 unless, again, over that 50% marker. But we're under the 75%. I don't like that. Same type of situation here. Why is this 76? Same type of situation here. Let's look for a back test of the 75. Hopefully they can get over if you're bullish. If not, watch out. We're probably going to drop back down to 65% is what I would think would happen. Is about the amount of stocks trading over their 200. So that's what I think was going to happen. We retest there and come back to 65. I hate to start to get bearish. I want us to keep going to, it's an easier market. But, just sometimes you got to flip your bias. Another little warning sign here. Let's see, bonds. I think I was looking at this. They held. Obviously, they fell, but they bounced back a little bit. A little bit of a bullish divergence here with them kind of perking up just a little bit. I mean, we are looking at an hourly here versus this being a daily. But this is that trend line that I was showing you guys earlier. And you really can see the head and shoulders kind of a bit more clearly here on the line chart. We'd love to see HYG back over 75.50 for the bulls. Let's get into transports in the Dow. New highs versus new lows. This is a little bit of an issue for here. Let's not see the next week close under zero here. Another little warning sign. We close at -5, basically zero. Let's get back over zero. Under zero, when we start closing next week under zero, we've got bigger issues. Let's monitor this. This is another, again, warning sign, potentially. Oh boy. VIX futures, big pop here, almost in backwardation, right? Watch as we get closer to this zero line. This is more risk coming into the market. People are getting more interested in potential risk. No, I don't want to do that. Coming into the market, if we start getting over that zero line, that is not an encouraging sign for the bulls. I would say that this not being over the zero line, the 9 versus the monthly, okay, that's good. I like that. But let's see if they start getting readings over the zero line. That's not going to be good. This another warning sign for this trying to get out of, in contango. And the VVIX here off that 75. Couldn't really get closes over the 105, but we're over 100. Let's watch this very carefully. Let's get these readings back below. If you're bullish, you want to see back below 100 here on the VVIX. But we could come into this 96 area, 95. As long as we hold over that, it's still going to be a bit of an issue here on the VVIX for volatility. So let's watch that. We hold 95, 96. We can still have issues. And certainly starting to close the week over 100. I've got an issue here with the VVIX for more downside. So I think that's pretty much everything wanted to go over. Warning sign here, iffy here, warning sign here. We've got warning signs pretty much everywhere. Weekly still okay. Daily definitely has some cracks in the sand. All eyes on earnings. Netflix, I think that's going to set the tone. And we'll see what happens then. So again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, if this is your first time here and you enjoyed the analysis and the video, think about subscribing. It would really mean a lot to me. Trying to get over 1,000 here. It's been a slow roll. I got to get I still have my microphone. I just still haven't bought a new stand yet. I've been super lazy about it. I just need to go ahead and do that, get the audio quality back up. I appreciate you bearing with me. Remember, a prepared trader is a profitable trader. So let's plan our trades and trade our plan. Again, thank you so much, all my current subscribers, everyone that interacts with me on Twitter as well. Love you guys. Love you, my subscribers. Where do you think we're going? You think we see a bounce? You think we're heading lower? Are you swinging anything? What positions are you in? Love to hear about it in the comments below. And have a great rest of your weekend. Take care and see you later.